Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is lecture 4 of the O-Levels English language course presented by Nafi' Academy. And in this particular session, we will be looking at different samples, or one sample for a formal letter and one sample for an informal letter, and we will try to gain an in-depth or a better understanding of the letter structure and what is sort of expected from you when it comes to formal letter writing and informal letter writing. And we will also try to gain an idea about the different types of or the overall type of questions that you can get, right? Not necessarily the different types, but the overall type of questions that you can get, which can give you some sort of an understanding. In addition to that, after you're done listening to this video, make sure you complete your assignment. You will have one assignment in relation to formal letter writing and one in relation to informal letter writing. Alright, so first let's have a look at a sample of a formal letter. So here the letter starts, Dear Manager. Now from the get-go you understand that this is a formal letter because we have not addressed any person by their first name, rather by their job post, so manager. It says, I am writing this letter to you to inform you about the catastrophic situation caused in the town due to the recent monsoon showers that proved to be deleterious. Now you can see how they've started the letter. I am writing this letter to you. Okay, this is quite important to understand. It's quite important to understand. This is how you're going to start most of your letters. I am writing this letter to. So consider this sentence a standard. This is how you're going to start. I'm writing this letter to. Now the next part of this sentence tells you the reason. To do what? I'm writing this letter for what? So in this case, he is writing this letter to inform this person. Someone might be writing a letter to suggest something. In that case, they will say, I'm writing this letter to you to suggest. But in this case, he's writing the letter to inform. So this is the general purpose of the letter. Then he goes on to explain the topic of the letter. What's the topic? What is he going to talk about? So he says, about the catastrophic situation caused in the town due to the recent monsoon showers that proved to be deleterious. So this is the standard introduction formula that you need to follow. Purpose of the letter plus the topic, introducing the topic. Then he moves on to the body. So he says, the heavy precipitation has afflicted the citizens badly. It has caused shallow mud puddles to accumulate in the streets, making them unable to be walked upon. It has also disrupted the traffic, posing a great economical loss to different industrial departments, thus adding up to the country's financial loss. This is the first part of the body, which includes a few points on how the monsoon has affected the economy and the citizens. So these are the 2 points here, and he has expounded on by giving a few examples. So it has disrupted traffic, which has led to economic loss when it comes to industrial departments, and has and so on and so forth. Then he moves on to the next part of the body, where he continues explaining more points related to his topic. So he says, the pungent sewage water bulging out of open drain holes can spread various fatal diseases, hence increasing the number of patients in hospitals. Those living at low altitudes have been an easy victim, and some of the uncemented houses have been vanquished by the forceful tides of the flood. Here there's a grammatical error. It should be the flood. The agricultural fields have been destroyed and has prompted a great deal of difficulty for the farmers who live hand to mouth. Furthermore, it is hindering the students in acquiring education, especially those who walk to school daily. So he has selected a few points related to his topic and he has expounded upon them. And this is what you're supposed to do. Select 5 points at least, or 4 to 5, or even 6 points. It depends on how much you can write within the word limit. Finally, he ends with a conclusion where he says, this chaotic situation clearly indicates the lack of administrative attention. So now he's telling them the overall conclusion. What do we conclude from all of this? Well, the first thing he concludes is that there's a lack of administrative attention. If there had been any precautionary arrangements, the damage at present would have been prevented. Therefore, an immediate action over this matter is requested. So now he's mentioning that this letter is actually a request, and he's mentioning this request in the conclusion from the concerned authorities, and then he ends with a pleasantry saying, thanking you in anticipation. So you can include something like that. So this is the overall conclusion of the letter, which mentions his main concern, okay, and his request. And then he ends with yours faithfully. Now, if it's a suggestion letter, then this, instead of a request, it will include a suggestion and the main concern. Alright. So this is the basic sample of what your formal letter should look like. And you can get this type of question, for example, for a formal letter. So the question will look something like this. It might say, some open house suggestions have been added by other students. You will write a letter to the principal, Mr. Kenny, on the best suggestion for the open house. So now, because you're writing to the principal, you know this is a formal letter. And then they've given you a few things, right, to suggest. And then they mention, write a letter. So they'll give you the word limit, and then they've said written in respectful tone. So you need to write in a respectful tone, in a formal tone. And the word limit is 250 to 350 words. So that means your letter should not be below 250 words, and it should not be beyond 350 words. It should be within the word limit. So this is what a formal letter question can look like. Let's now have a look at an informal letter. So this is what an informal letter question can look like. So it says, you recently had a quarrel meaning a fight with your friend, not in speaking terms with him now, meaning you're not speaking with him right now. Write a letter to your cousin seeking his advice. So now you're writing to your friend, so you know this is an informal, or you're writing to your cousin, so you know this is an informal letter. And then they've given you certain points that you need to cover in the letter. So how do you feel about it then? Meaning when you fought with him, how are you feeling? How you feel about it now? So how do you feel about it now? It should be, how did you feel about it then? And then it says why you think your cousin is the best person to seek advice from. And so you need to mention these 3 things within the letter in the proper structure. You don't just answer the question and end it. No, you have to write a proper letter with a proper flow. So look at how he has written. He says, Dear Ali. Dear Ali. So he addressed him with his first name. That shows you it's an informal letter. How are you? Hope you're enjoying, and I'm also enjoying the winters. I was greatly pleased with your wise suggestion last time. It really solved my tensions. Now I am to disclose to you another important matter and seek your advice. So he asked him about his health. It's an informal letter. That's fine. And then he's mentioning the topic and the main reason why he's writing the letter, which is number 1, he's pleased with his advice, and now he wants to disclose another important matter to him and seek his advice. This is the reason for writing the letter. Then he says in the body, you're the only one whom I'm telling this, as I think you, being my close cousin and friend, understands me better than others and would provide me with a feasible solution. So here he has answered this question. Why do you think your person is the best? So he has answered this question here. Then he moves on. He says, Ahmed is one of my great friends. Here there's a grammatical mistake. At school, and we enjoy a great time together, both at school and at home, as he's also my neighbor. We also have the same bus for transportation, It all began this Monday when we. So now he's explaining the situation, right? And this is important. If you're given a letter like this, you need to explain the situation. You need to imagine a situation and you need to explain it. It all began this Monday when we sat down on my seat in the bus. I used to be the first. Wait, I used on that seat daily, but this is incoherent. All right, it's not grammatically accurate. Yeah, on that seat daily, but that day Ahmed managed to be earlier, meaning Ahmed was earlier or entered the bus earlier than him, and he sat on his seat, so he got angry. I asked him to leave it, meaning I asked him to get up, but he turned a deaf ear to me, and in my fury I used abusive words for him as well, as I tried to grab him by his collar. However, when I returned home so here he has explained how he was feeling about it then. He was angry, he was furious, and he used abusive words. Okay, so he has answered this question. How did you feel about it then? In the middle. So it's not like you're answering the questions, no. You're writing the complete letter, and in the middle of it, you answer these questions. Okay? Moving on. He says, however, when I returned home and I calmly pondered over the whole incident, I found every action of mine witnessing my fault. So then he explains how he felt after that, or how he feels about it now, which answers this question. Alright, then he says, I thought how rude I had been, not have, I had been, for such a petty issue. Now I only wish, that's another mistake, now I only wish to regain the lost friendship with Ahmed, but I don't know how to achieve it. So I wrote this all to you, not this all, I wrote all of this. Okay, I wrote all of this to you, or I'm writing all of this to you, and am now hoping to get advice or some advice from your side. Okay, and this is the basic conclusion of the letter, and it can end with something like with the best of wishes, and then your first name at the bottom. So this is a basic sample of an informal letter, and the basic type of question that you can get in an informal letter. With that, we end lecture 4 of this course. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.